Hello, I'm Sean Sposato with Inside the Magic Theme Park Reporter, here with my boss and friend Kirk Schmidt. We are here to discuss the new Toy Story Land at Disney's Hollywood Studios that is opening actually tomorrow as we're recording this. Today is Friday, June 29th, and tomorrow is the grand opening of Toy Story Land. And we actually, luckily, were able to do a preview of the land, which we are here to discuss today. So Kurt, I guess just to kind of start off this conversation, I really want to dive in kind of to like a land overall, looking at not necessarily the attractions, but kind of those little details that kind of really stand out as you maybe first enter the land, whether it's the Toy Story land, or I'm sorry, the Woody Marquee, or even just the little Tinker Toys that immediately kind of take in your sights as you kind of walk in the area.
Yeah, Sean, I think we were both kind of surprised when you walk into Toy Story Land. You're greeted by giant Woody. Well, everything's scale, I guess, in Toy Story Land. So giant relative to the size of a Green Army man that we're all shrunken down to. But we have this talking Woody as you enter the park. So if you have a chance to make it into Toy Story Land, you definitely need to pause, take a chance to kind of listen, hear what he says. He just kind of talks at random points of time, and then,
Yes.
continue walking through the park. But I don't know about you, but I just kind of thought that was kind of a cool, unexpected surprise. And then I know for me, you start seeing on the ground these giant footsteps. They're supposed to be Andy's footsteps, and they're just kind of this cool touch and everything once you get into the park, and they kind of lead you through the land, and allow you to walk through. So for me, I guess those were probably the two things that stood out the most. Just right upon entering, you could really tell that you're in a different kind of environment, and Disney had really done something special with this land. I don't know, did you have a couple things that you were thinking of that were really caught your attention?
Yeah, it's funny. I wrote about this in an article this morning. Well, one thing that you really don't see at first glance, and it's funny because it's all the small things that you don't see at first glance. For me, it had to be the benches, just like popsicle
Oh yeah, those are
sticks,
cool.
dominoes. They had the little, actually, for those who are familiar with the wooden train tracks, like sets, they had those also as benches. The footprints also really kind of, that was something I really didn't notice upon, I think because you take in so much scenery of all the attractions and everything, and then eventually you look down at the ground and you see this massive footprint it's funny, which is actually replicated to be scale to what Disney believes Andy's foot would be at 8 years old, which is really awesome. Also very massive, because I think it's at least a 12-15 step span to kind of go the full length of it. But yeah, there's so many little small details that are so, I think, that really grab your attention, but also are kind of hidden. So for anyone who is making their way in the land this weekend, I have to say, really take your time and walk slowly and really take it in, because there's so many things. I promise you will not see it all the first time you go in. But yeah, and I guess any last thoughts?
Well, you actually mentioned something about those footprints, and one of the other things that we learned from Disney during the media preview was the Toy Story Land, Andy's backyard, is placed in this time between the first Toy Story movie and the second or the third movie. They gave an approximate age of Andy being 8. So it was just kind of interesting as we heard about the Imagineers put themselves in this mindset of this 8-year-old, coming through. So not the exact version we had seen from any of the movies, but really able to kind of combine, a lot of different things and everything. So yeah, I just thought, overall, there was a lot of these, just little surprises and everything that as you're walking through, even before you get to the rides, things like that, were just really interesting to take in. So I thought they did a great job with that. So.
Yeah, an incredible job. Yeah, it's wild. You really have to see it in person. We have footage if you want to check it out. We have a full nighttime and daytime walkthrough on our YouTube channel as well. In addition to all the attractions, but you really have to visit it in person to really kind of capture the essence of the land. But yeah, so I guess to kind of I guess continue on with our conversation into the attractions. Really starting with my favorite attraction personally, Slinky Dog Dash. What do you think?
Yeah.
Y'all let you start because I have a lot of thoughts. So
Yeah,
you
Slinky
can go.
Slinky Dog Dash is great. I mean, that's the new highlight attraction of Toy Story Land, and I got onto the ride with mixed feelings. It's not a kiddie coaster, but it's not necessarily a thrill coaster with all the different inverts, turns and things like that. But you get on it, and I remember my first ride on the coaster. I was really surprised by some of the steep drops and the sharp turns and everything. I really, I guess, walked that fine line between something that younger kids could ride, while at the same time the adults and their parents could truly enjoy. So yeah, it was a great ride. But I'm curious, you've had a chance to ride it a few more times than I did. What did you think?
I did. It's so funny. So when you first see it, and it's funny because when Walt Disney Imagineering was creating the land, they kind of designed it to be where no matter where you are in the land, you have a view of the Slinky Dog running around Andy's backyard. And it's funny for me riding the ride though, to answer your question. It's really a lot of fun. It's funny because I feel like it got faster towards the last few times I rode the ride, but it's amazing. You kind of shoot out of this platform that's built entirely of Andy's toys. What it's like cardboard boxes of a Yahtzee game board box. They've got an actual track, kind of like this launcher for like a Hot Wheel, I believe a Hot Wheel or some type of
Hot
little
Wheels,
car. And that's another box that makes it up. And if you look up, above you on the ride platform, you actually see the the game board to a Slinky Dog game that's actually a part of the platform as well. So even just I have to say, the little details that are just in the ride platform. I know, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around with this conversation because it's just so much, all the little details. But that alone is incredible. And then the queue is insane as well with oh my gosh, a bunch of crayon pictures, a bunch of books. There's different army men. There's different Tinker toys. The colors are so vivid and wild. It's amazing. It's truly like you're taking in all the colors of the rainbow in this essentially attraction, which is so wild. But the actual ride though, I'm sorry, to answer your original question, it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot longer than you'd think it'd be. Personally, I do think that. I feel like after you shoot out, you kind of coast around, and then after you eventually make your way to the kind of, I guess, the charging station. We've like the power boosting station, this awesome station where essentially the ride stops momentarily, kind of moves backwards, and then shoots you out to fly literally almost over the land. I mean, honestly, you literally take in all the sights, and if you're riding the attraction at night, the lights really pop and shine, and the whole attraction lights up. Literally, there's lights all along the track, and it's honestly just amazing. I'm sorry, I'm like, all my thoughts.
it's one of those, there's not a bad time to go on the ride, but I would say there is a better time in terms of being able to go at night as far as the ride itself. But on the same token, you go during the day, and the way it goes all around the land, you just see different parts of the park from a different vantage point and everything. And they really did a good job of just touring the Toy Story Land in Andy's backyard that you get to see from that ride. So yeah, I would just have to, say well done to Disney on that ride. They definitely exceeded the expectations that I had. So
yeah, I think, and to compare it, I think probably I'd say like Mount Everest, right? Kind of like in regard to like the way you're seated. I know the restraint is similar as well. So I guess it's
had
kind
some
of like that, I guess.
Had some Mount Everest, but I'm also going to say, and this is coming from someone who's getting old enough that I can feel it on some roller coasters.
Yeah.
It had some Seven Dwarfs Mine Train feel to it in the sense of I got off the ride and I felt like I had a good roller coaster that was well built, and I didn't feel like I was shaken and jarred and
Yeah.
stuff, and I felt good coming off the ride, and so. I guess depending on where you're at in life
Yeah.
and everything, and
Yeah.
how you feel getting off of roller coasters, that may be an important thing to you. It may not. The seats and everything even seemed wider, and I mean,
Yeah.
there's just a lot of things that just really is a roller coaster that was both fun,
Yeah.
and it was just comfortable to be on.
I agree.
That makes
I agree.
sense.
No,
So.
I think that makes sense. And it's I know a tip for anyone, if you get to stay, I know it's probably gonna be really hard to get in the land Saturday, but fly to this attraction. Yeah. I get
So.
any last thoughts on that? Or?
I think we pretty much
Yeah,
covered it.
covered
You want to
that.
go to the other new ride,
Yes,
which is
so
Aliens
Aliens
Swirling
Flying
Saucers. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, no. That ride is a lot of fun. I know it's funny because a lot of people like, oh, it's themed after a Disneyland attraction, Mater's. It's oh my gosh, I cannot think of the name
Was
of
it Mater's Junkyard?
Mater's Junkyard Jamboree.
Yes.
And a lot of people, there was just some thoughts and ideas that got thrown out. For me personally, I've never actually experienced that attraction, but coming onto Alien Swirling Saucers just by itself, I think it's just a fun, cute ride. I think it's a good time. I personally enjoy the attraction. I think it is a fun, quick, like spinning ride, and it's not too harsh where you feel like you're getting dizzy or you're like coming off it, kind of like you said, like sick or like whatever. I think it's just a fun, just a sweet ride. It's definitely for everyone of all ages. I think it was just a fun, cool ride. I think it looks really nice in the land. I don't think it's, this super, like, I don't know. I guess I'm mixed with that, I guess. Like, it's a great attraction, but it's also not, like, the greatest attraction, I guess, does that make sense, kind of?
Well, and I think it is one of those, whenever you have rides that share ride vehicles or technology, that always, leaves a little bit to be desired in terms of we want that original ride. Mm-hmm. But it's original at least to what Walt Disney World has. There's not another ride exactly like it in Walt Disney World. So in that regards, I think it's great for most people who have not had a chance to go on, gone to both Disneyland and Disney World. You're not going to necessarily know that it's like another ride other than what you hear from us or you read from us or anyone else online. So, to me, I think it just really works. It works well.
Yeah.
And because you are spinning around, I guess I could some ways compare it to the teacups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it doesn't spin you so fast.
No. And you can't control the spinning.
You're not controlling the spinning. And it's going in more of this figure eight type loop. So, yeah, it's a really fun ride. If you remember from the Toy Story movie and the Aliens, their master is the claw that reaches down and grabs them. You can look up on the ride and you see the claw with the aliens. I mean, it just really fits well for the theming and what they're trying to accomplish. I would say, for what it's trying to be, which is a ride that is going to be appealing to kids and families and people of all ages, I think it does a great job.
I think so too.
So.
Yeah, I think, and another thing about this ride, similar to that of the Slinky Dog Dash, is it's so colorful. It's like an overload of color. Well, of course, the Alien, Toy Story, Buzz Lightyear colors of like green, purple, and blue, but it's fun. I guess really, and I keep saying this too, the whole land at night is incredible, and the lighting though on this attraction, and it's funny because we had interviewed some designers of the attraction who had kind of spoke on this, that part of this experience is the lighting and the music, which I believe there's 8 tracks of music designed or written and composed specifically for this brand new attraction, which is amazing. But of course that's everything Disney. But so there's so much thought that really went into this whole attraction, and I will say you do get that sense of it as well. I think for me, I was speaking on kind of like, oh, this is so the thrill level, I think, which is there. I think, I think it is a good attraction though, of course, and definitely something to see at night. Okay, and now the next thing I have to talk about, another new part of this land, is the new Toy Story Mania queue. That it's actually, so as part of this new land, Disney actually created a whole nother entrance from within the land that takes you into the attraction. I mean, this new entrance, I mean, it's not only pretty awesome, but they also added this really fun, amazing queue that is especially for those entering from the Toy Story Land. And I guess let me let you start with your thoughts on the queue, because I don't ride this attraction too much when I'm here. I know this is a very big attraction for you and your family. So I guess I'm curious more so what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so for me, just for full disclosure, I think Toy Story Mania is probably one of the top attractions in all of Disney World. So I think that highly of it. Again, the attraction itself is essentially the same, even though we do have some video up of the attraction if you are not familiar with it, that we'll link to on our YouTube site. But as far as the queue itself, the queue, there's a lot of similarities to the old queue. There's the toys and the games and the cards and, stuff of that nature. But there were, new layout to the queue, and there was the interactive Mr. Potato Head, which was really cool. We actually, between Sean and I, didn't have any advanced knowledge that interactive potato head was going to be there. And so at first we hear him talk, and we thought, okay, well, this is nice, whatever. Cool. And then we realized, no, he was actually addressing us.
He's like, young man, look at you. Like, he recognized your cap, and everything was wild.
Yeah, it was really great. And one of the things for me, I actually... If there's maybe the biggest single surprise to my way of thinking about Toy Story Land now after seeing it, it's actually with the Play Disney Parks app that was supposed to launch tomorrow, June 30th, but they actually launched it a day early. They launched it yesterday. And they're going to have these interactive games in the queue. Well, the Toy Story Mania queue is one of those. So with this new queuing setup, it's not just, I don't think, seeing a few new games and a few changes, that way, but it's, as we understood with this app, it's going to allow you to interact with your surroundings, your family. It's not going to be, if you're, used to, say, the typical American family where you have mom and dad, and then the kids are, buried in their phones or their iPads, and they're not interacting with one another. This is going to be a game as we understand it. I haven't had a chance to play it. I'm looking forward to it. But this is going to be something where you're actually going to be able to play both at home before you get to the parks, and when you're there at the park in certain rides, this being one of them, and interact with your family and really enjoy the time. I actually, someone who does not like to wait in lines, tries to get a fast pass every last chance I get. I'm actually looking forward to going back through this with my family and waiting through a long line just to experience this queue. Now you have to realize, I am coming from the perspective of someone who, if it's more than about a 20-30 wait because I don't have a fast pass, I kind of, I have a chance to come back later. I'm not going to wait that often. I know
you're one of those people.
It's one of the one of the things when you're covering the parks a lot, you get to visit and you frankly get spoiled. But I'm so excited about this. I actually am perfectly fine, and I'm looking forward to a 60-minute, 90-minute. 2 hours. I don't know what the wait's going to be as they open this up, because again, it's not a new ride.
Correct.
But I want to be in this queue with my family, experiencing everything that we have to experience and everything. And we heard the Disney talk about this is where your choices matter. Even relating to this app. So I don't know. I'm really excited about this queuing area and then the ride and everything itself. So
and it's funny, in that app it can be used throughout Walt Disney World at different attractions and all of the parks as well, from my understanding. And I know they've got integration with Apple Music, and it's not the My Disney Experience app, so it won't give you wait times. You can't book fast passes on it, but definitely it does seem like an incredible experience in itself. But in regard to the new queue and the entrance, I think it looks so much better personally than the old entrance
does.
in the actual, like, I guess, Pixar Animations area. Is that the name of that? I'm trying to think of wherever the Pixar area within the park.
Yeah,
within
now
Hollywood
drawn up.
Studios,
Yeah.
I know, but I just think it looks cooler. It's so colorful. It's so bright. It's like this. I'm trying to think. I guess like a castle, or it's literally, I guess, a tent. Kind of. That is what the entrance is, and then you kind of walk in and you get this super colorful interactive area. And the what really makes it interactive, though, of course, in addition to that app, is also the Mr. Potato Head, which is wild because he really does. I think it has to be a person. There has to be like a camera. Someone has to be talking through it. There's no way. He knew way too many things. No AI is that good.
Well, it's Disney magic. We saw magic. Disney magic.
Not artificial intelligence. It's magic. But no, it's a really cool themed area, and I think it really kind of re-inspired my appreciation for that attraction as well. This new queue and new entrance. So I think ultimately it's just a great. It really does. I think, like you said, it's funny because I think everyone thinks these two new attractions, but it really brings a third attraction to the land. It does.
Correct.
Honestly.
Yeah. And that's just it. I think if you look at Toy Story Land as just two new attractions, you're missing out on really the value and everything that they brought with Toy Story Mania. It was really nicely done. So
awesome. Well, yeah, I guess now on to our last thing we have to talk about, which is also a very big part of this whole new land, is Woody's Lunchbox. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is essentially a new restaurant. It's a quick service restaurant that is a part of the new land, and it's kind of themed after essentially Woody's, literally his actual like lunch pail, which has kind of been turned into this walk-up quick service menu, and his thermos is there, and there's all these little elements that are pretty wild. And I know you got to experience some of the food last night as well, and really see it. So I guess, what are your thoughts on before I go in?
I think it's a nice quick service restaurant. It's things you would find in a lunchbox. It's sandwiches, and it's there's Pop-Tarts, which were I'm not a big Pop-Tart fan, but I have to give the food services team props. They made a Pop-Tart that is a good Pop-Tart, and this is coming from someone who typically would shy away from getting that off of the menu. So, but yeah, it's really good. It's outdoor seating. It's just a nice nice quick service restaurant. So allows you to stay in that area of the park and soak up that vibe, which is really cool.
No, I completely agree. So yeah, I think Woody's Lunchbox, it's wild. Like all the different, I know like there's this major big platform with the army men looking for Andy to come back, and it's a bunch of Tinker toys, a bunch of really colorful, really cool, fun seats, and I know, I believe they have a partnership with Baby Bell cheeses for the area as well, which you'll kind of see those little elements in the area, just whether it's on the actual walk-up menu, or I guess the walk-up, the walk-up window area.
Yeah, the walk-up window.
Yeah, you'll see it there, and then there supposedly there will also be umbrellas that are Baby Bell themed as well. But yeah, I think it's just a nice restaurant. The food is delicious. I recommend everyone I think it's the green power punch we talked about.
Yeah, that was great.
Whatever, it's a green juice. It's so delicious. I personally enjoy that, and for the adults out there, they do have an adult version with alcohol, and that's also very good as well. And that really kind of redid the pop. I think they reinvented the Pop-Tart truly with that pastry.
Yes, they did.
They did a really good job with that. But yeah, the food is very delicious, and I think overall it's just a fun, great place to visit in the land. And the only thing is, one thing I wish that would have been different. There really isn't a lot of shading in this area, so there will be umbrellas, of course. But you are still very much outside. This is not an inside restaurant. This is an exterior walk-up restaurant. So, just so people know that, because I thought this was an interior restaurant with air conditioning, and it is not. So just keep that in mind for this area. But yeah, although with that aside, it's still a really cool, awesome new themed restaurant that I will definitely be visiting. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Probably my nighttime visits to avoid the sun. But no, I will definitely be definitely eating at this restaurant for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I guess any last thoughts on it?
Yeah, you know, and it even just ties into what you're saying with Woody's Lunchbox. The reason why I would be eating at Woody's Lunchbox, or one of the top reasons why I really enjoy Toy Story Land, is just the theming is so well done.
Yes.
And one of the things, at least to me, that I've noticed since Hollywood Studios has lost its attractions for the opening of Toy Story Land, and then next year, Galaxy's Edge, is a lot of the identity of Hollywood Studios kind of felt lost, and it just didn't have that terrific theming. And we've seen in, you know, Magic Kingdom with theming in the different lands. We've seen it in Animal Kingdom with you know, the theming they have in the different areas. You kind of miss that in Hollywood, or at least in the last few years we've kind of missed that. But this brings it back with a vengeance. It is just great theming. And you know, you come to a theme park to have fun. You come to a Disney World to have fun. And it was just fun. I can imagine families coming in. They're going to kind of have this kind of skip to their step potentially as they, you know, are humming "You Got a Friend in Me" in their head walking through the park. It's just going to be a fun, happy time. So yeah, I was my expectations were exceeded many times over with this new land.
I agree. And it's funny, and I think to go back to the Imagineers, like, you really do feel like a toy. Like, I can't explain it. Like, even the way the grass is, like the way the trees are, the way all these little elements are so much bigger than you are. You really feel like you are a toy, and Andy has gone away, and you are there to play. Everything is amazing. All the theming, all of the attractions, just all those little minute, like, little details that really make it so incredible. I just think it really is an incredible experience, and I have to say that anyone, I know the wait times, it's probably gonna be so hard to get into this land. I'm not even gonna pretend like that's not a thing. I really think it's worth it just to see it, to really experience it, and to take it in. And it is such a ginormous occasion, an opening of a new land in a theme park this land will probably be here for years to come. So it is most certainly a recommended thing. The whole land. Yes. For me, I have to say.
Yeah, and don't worry too much about the wait times. Again, there's the Play Disney app and you know, things like that. But yeah, there's going to be the wait times though, because it's going to be popular.
Regardless.
You know, we know that. But it's yeah, I agree with you, Sean. I think it's going to be a great land. So.
Awesome.
With that, this concludes our episode of Inside Walt Disney World. So
Inside Toy Story Land.
Inside Toy Story Land. So thank you again for listening. Be sure to check back in a couple of weeks when we're back at Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And then next week we'll be back in Disneyland as we throw it over to Mike Solicitino for his Disneyland coverage.
Yes.
So again, thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe and click the notification icon so that you can get updates for our future broadcasts and videos.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Definitely. Well, thank you guys so much.